Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Welcome to another episode in the series, Dawah Ilallah, and how you can be effective in calling those that you have come across in your life to submit to Allah. That is the only reason that we are calling people, not to anything else, but to Allah. And the only reason we are doing it is because we want to be pleasing to Allah in everything that we do. We want to please Allah, and in fact that we are continuing the same blessing that we have received and taking it on to other people as well. It says in the Quran that chapter 16 verse 125, the most famous words, invite to your Lord with wisdom and fair preaching and argue with them in ways that are better. Truly your Lord knows best who have gone astray from his path, and he is best aware whom are guided. The most important thing that we are looking at today is invite to your Lord with wisdom. Wisdom is hikmah. This is what we are going to be dealing with today when we look at Dawah Ilallah. Allah has given to us and has mentioned three different approaches that are required in this verse, that are required for us. And the first one that he uses is wisdom. The first word that he uses is hikmah, wisdom. And the second is fair preaching. And the third is arguing with them in ways that are better, not that are worse. In other words, some people say repay evil with evil. This is not what is mentioned here. We must argue with them in ways that are better. So if they start drawing pictures of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and insulting the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, doesn't mean we start drawing pictures of Jesus. We don't start drawing pictures of him and insulting him, because that would be worse or equal to them. We must be better than them. And this is why we will never degrade any of the prophets, even if we could, because it's not in our nature to do that as Muslims. We are calling people to a better way. And so these 3 points are essential to understand in the life of anyone who is calling anyone to submit to Allah. Important that we understand these ourselves. Important that we use this in dawah. So this should be your motto if you need one. I'm against mottos. You know, many people have these mottos that they use to get themselves inspired to do dawah. But if you had to have a motto, then it would be that you need to understand that these verses explain the type of motto that you would need to have. That you need to have wisdom, that you have to have fair preaching, and that you need to argue with them with ways that are better. So today, inshallah, we're going to look at the meaning of this word, hikmah, and understand that the meaning of this word is not just wisdom, but it also means reins, like reins of an animal, not reins like in rain, or reins is like running a government, or a president, or a king, or a queen. But it means like the reins that are used to control an animal. It's easy to drive a car. Drive a car is easy. The steering is the hard part. Driving is easy. Riding a horse is easy. Steering, that's the hard part. Sometimes if you don't know how to control the horse properly, it knows. So even though you're pulling to the left, the horse is supposed to go to the left, it will not go anywhere. It'll probably go to the right. And you're pulling further and further your arms out, or maybe you're pulling like this or whatever, it's not going to listen. Because you have to have confidence and belief and surety when you are riding that horse. Otherwise the horse picks it up. It sounds very new agey. Oh, the horse can pick up the feelings. It does. It can tell if you're confident or not. So in the same way, when we have hikmah as a da'i, what we should develop, we have to have confidence in what we are doing. But we need to control it. We have to control our wisdom. It sounds crazy that we say that, but sometimes our wisdom can lead to arrogance. And so we need to learn how to control and turn and maneuver our wisdom. That's what wisdom actually is. Knowing when to do something and when not to do something. And so in dawah, under different circumstances and different events, we need to know when to use this hikmah of ours. When to keep quiet, when to speak. When to lose a battle, when to win a battle. You might be surprised me saying lose a battle. Sometimes it's better to walk away and leave it for another day. It's not going anywhere. This argument, this discussion, this conversation is not going anywhere. If we continue to talk, somebody's going to get a hiding, isn't it? You've seen those situations. You continue, and there's going to be trouble. So what's better to do? Do you want to do that and cause the whole problem? No one's going to listen to you in the future again? Or is it better to just say, I think I'm going to throw in the towel right now. I've lost. Today I'm going to lose. It's not me that lost anyway. So you just walk away. That person's lost, not you. So you walk away and you leave it for another day. Very, very important. So when we look at this word, hikmah, it's important that we understand that every situation that we are going to be in will be different. You cannot use one size fits all. It has to be situational. So we need to be able to make a distinction between truth and falsehood. This is what wisdom is. And so it is looking at this, how we are able to steer people away from error or not as well by using hikmah. How do they see something? How are they viewing the same thing that you see? So it is one of the qualities that we as Muslims have to work hard at, wisdom. We are born with a natural understanding of things. Like I said, it's a naturally born with a certain amount of instinct, which develops into wisdom. But wisdom is something that is gained over time, normally by bashing your head against the wall a good few times before realizing, oh, it's a solid wall, maybe I should use the door. Wisdom tells you, I'm not going to walk through walls, I have to use the door. Sometimes people learn wisdom quicker than others. Wisdom can be taught, but it is more likely that you're going to experience it. So you're going to have to make a few trial and errors and a few mistakes on the way. But there are ways that you can keep yourself from making fatal errors in dawah and using wisdom. One is to look at others dealt with the same situation and learn from their mistakes and from the wisdom that they used. This is the better way than hurting yourself every single time. Take criticism to heart, whether it be constructive or not constructive. Now, a lot of us say, only give me constructive criticism. Well, that's convenient to say it. That's very nice to say, because you're saying, only give me criticism that I like to take. I prefer the destructive criticism, because then it's worse. It's harder, it's more ugly, and it makes me have to do something about it. Where if it's constructive criticism, like, I don't even have to listen to it because it's constructive. No, that's how we often are. So sometimes, in gaining wisdom, we want to look at destructive criticism as well. Don't just take, you don't want to just be around people that agree with you, and it's just like sheep. This is what I like about the group that I am with in South Africa, is that we're all very different characters. All four of us could not be more different to the other. And we argue with each other, and we have disagreements with each other. And we will tell each other exactly what we think of each other, sometimes not in the nicest ways. But we're all still very good friends, and we're still good brothers to one another, and we still have respect for each other. We have the courage to do deconstructive criticism sometimes. But it's good that way, because that's how we'll grow and learn as Muslims. So try to find people that will bring the best out of you in dawah. Don't be afraid to be hurt. Don't be afraid to get sad that somebody criticized the way you did something. Don't worry about it. Get over it. It's there for your own good. And it's better that you learn this now than later, because when you get out there in the field of dawah, it's brutal. They're not going to be a nice Muslim telling you this. It's going to be somebody else who's going to be telling you. So when you're out there, make sure that you start developing this quality of hikmah in your life, wisdom.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in the Quran that He created the death and the life for the purpose of testing us.
Taqwa and truthfulness, humility and repentance, kindness and gratefulness.
Are you prepared for the final exam? Are you ready?
Generosity and tenderness give true value to life.
To answer the most important exam that you will ever face.
Dr. Jonathan Gonzalez.
Live your life on purpose.
Learn to utilize every moment of life to make it meaningful and precious in Live Your Life on Purpose. Every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. and repeat telecast at 11:30 a.m. UK on Peace TV. Marriage or divorce?
What's Islamic ruling?
Nikah.
Solution or problem? Heaven or hell?
There is a misconception.
You choose. Beauty, wealth, family status, virtue. Decide what you want. Decide your choice. Be sad or be happy. It's your choice. Join Dr. Zakir Naik in Better Half or Bitter Half tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. and repeat telecast at 9:30 a.m. UK on Peace TV. He faces.
I have two questions.
He listens.
My question is about the beard, about Imam Mahdi.
What other people believe in?
He answers.
So number one is the help of Allah.
He satisfies in the light of glorious Quran and authentic Hadith.
If Allah helps you, believe me, you have to get success.
Catch Dr. Zakir.
Then we have the next call, please.
To get convincing and valid answers in Dial Dr. Zakir. Next on Peace TV.
Before a da'i goes out of his own home or his own residence, or even before he starts talking to his family members, he should make supplication to Allah before going and doing da'wah. He should start at least to make 2 rakats before he goes out. Pray to Allah, ask Allah, make sure that your intention for what you're doing have started out in the right way, right in the very beginning. So if you have an intention to go to speak at this group, or you have intention to go do da'wah to this person, it starts on your knee. It starts on the floor. It brings you down to realizing that you are nothing if it is not for the sake of Allah. If it was not for Allah, you are nothing. Only Allah elevates you. And so when you get down to that point, before you even go out to do da'wah, it actually will make you realize what your mission truly is. So wisdom comes by submitting to Allah. So before you go out, make sure you start every event, da'wah event. When you're calling people to submit to Allah, it starts out by performing at least 2 rakats of salah before you go out. And pray to Allah to help you and guide you, and that whatever you do will be for His glory. That people will not remember your name, but they'll remember your message. One of the greatest compliments I ever get is when people come to me and they say, "Oh, you that white guy from Peace TV." That is the greatest compliment you can give me. When you see me on the street, but do it genuinely, don't lie. But when people see me, I love it, because that means I have accomplished exactly what I wanted. They don't say, "Oh, you are Areeb Islam from Peace TV." They say, "Oh, you that white guy from Peace TV," which is far better for a da'i to hear, because that means I have people that can tell me everything I said in the episode, but they don't know my name. Alhamdulillah, that is exactly what you want out of da'wah. When you are going out there to do da'wah, you don't want them to remember your name. You want them to remember your message, I remember when I became a Muslim, when I reverted to Islam, the person who took my Shahada, who guided me, it was about 3 weeks before I remembered what his name was. But I'd met him every day because his message was he never even bothered saying, my name is Ford Hendricks. He never even bothered. He just gave me dawah. You see, that this is the thing that we know, this is the thing that will keep us from becoming arrogant, becoming self-centered, from becoming, thinking more of ourselves than we actually are. Understand there needs to be a healthy respect for scholars. Do not misunderstand it because it sounds like I'm saying you mustn't respect. No, for sure, respect scholars. Give them that respect that they deserve. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying for da'is, those who are claiming that they are going out there calling people to submission to Allah, no one needs to know your name. It's not required. It's not something that you should be doing. The message is greater than who you are. Obviously, this is an obvious no-brainer. All Muslims should know this. But I'm just saying because some people often get this mixed up. Now, it's very, very important that when a da'i goes out, that you have the right materials on hand. Very, very important that you have your toolkit. A doctor does not go to his surgery without having his doctor's bag with his stethoscope and all his other little gadgets, the doctor's cruelty kit that he carries around. No one goes without the right equipment. A lawyer or a judge or an attorney does not appear in court without his right equipment, because otherwise you'd lose the case. He doesn't have his case file. As a da'i, you must go out with the right equipment. You have to have the right clothing on. You have to have the right equipment. You have to have the belt with all the goodies in it. You see those guys that come and fix your plumbing or when they have those belts? And it's got all the little goodies in it, the hammer and everything's on there. They just pull it out and everything's right there. It's like a tool belt. It's not a tool belt, we've got another name for it. You have a tool belt as a da'i. A kit that you have on you, requirement that you must have on you at all times. So you need to build up there. I'm not going to tell you what's in the kit because you've got to figure out what you need in your area. So it's not bringing out itar and miswaks and all the rest of it. That's not your tool belt. You need Qurans, you need information on how to understand Islam, who Allah is, all that type of thing. So you come up with your toolkit and make sure that you have handy material available at all times, like booklets and handouts and maybe whatever it might be. Easy to carry stuff so that you don't have an excuse not to take it. So I know that Islam House has a CD. It's a CD-ROM. Now you don't even need CD-ROMs. You can get something as small as that. You guys call it in India pen drives, the rest of the world call it a flash drive. So you can get one of these things, it's tiny. Get one of these things, you can fit like 1,000 of these into your backpack. When you're going out, you can just dish them out to people. So always have things that you can give out. You don't have to have lots of books. And this you can fit the whole Quran on. You can fit lectures, DVDs, talks. This is in place of having all those things that we used to have to carry out. You can have a small little thing like this. You just give it to everybody. And they will love it anyway. So, inshallah, that's your tool. And your tool belt has suddenly become very light with modern technology. So these are things that you need to have. Other thing that you need to take out with you as a da'i is that you should always be in the best possible. Your clothes should be perfect. You should look good. As good as that can get. Obviously by 4 o'clock in the afternoon, clothes ain't going to look so good. You're not going to look so good. But you should go out looking good. You should start your day with everything going, not overboard either, please. Balance, remember guys, balance at home, not going overboard. I mean, some guys, you smell them coming down the street. I mean, they put like 2 liters of perfume all over their body. And you can smell the guy going, oh no, it's him again. And you come there and you reach and go, I've got a cold. Meantime, it's the overpowering perfume. Don't overdo it. Because you can't smell it doesn't mean everyone else can't smell it. Maybe we need to cut down on the curries because you've like lost smell. So just put a little bit on the wrist, rub it in, maybe on the hands, maybe a bit on the beard if you want, and then go out. Don't overdo it. And carry a little bottle in your pocket, so maybe every 2 hours, 3 hours, you just put a little bit more on. No, rub it through. Don't overdo it. You don't want everyone thinking you're a salesman of a perfume company. The other thing is your clothing. Make sure that it is neat. It's so easy with Muslim clothing anyway. You just throw it over your neck, over your head, and off you go. It's not like so difficult. If you're fortunate enough to have a wife who knows how to use starch and ironing and everything, it even looks nicer. If you don't have a wife that can do all those things, then you're going to have to learn to iron and do it yourself. Get one of those steam machines, so you don't iron, because men and ironing, not a good idea. We're not very good with irons. Right? So steam machines are easier, steam things, so you won't mess up your clothing. So it's important to have your clothes look nice and clean and crisp. So when the white kuta starts looking yellow, it's probably time to get a new one. It's not going to get, the yellow ain't going to come out no matter how many times you bleach it. All you do is going to get holes in the clothes. So always make sure that you look good. You should also be mentally prepared in your face. So not in your face in that type of sense, but in your face. Be mentally prepared. If your face is coming out and you're standing there and you're going, I want to tell you about the really good news about Islam and that Allah really cares about you, no one's going to believe it. Your face doesn't say it. So you must prepare your face for coming out there. Nothing wrong with doing a little bit of Hollywood exercises in the mirror. See what you look like. Check it out. See how you look when you speak. Nothing wrong with doing that, because that's what they're going to see. So prepare yourself mentally, prepare yourself physically, prepare yourself emotionally when you go out and you talk to people. This is very, very important. So this is all under the different points that we looked at, whether you want, whatever mediums you want to use. Make sure that whatever you do and the way you act or the way you talk, that you are constantly aware that somebody is watching you. So you need to have a little bit of a psycho side to yourself. So you have to be aware, you must be thinking that people are looking at you all the time. I know the psychiatrists will say, classic case of schizophrenia. I mean, this guy's like, more Muslims are schizophrenic. You need to be a little bit schizo to be a Muslim, because you've got to be aware that somebody is always watching you. Even if they're not, somebody is. We know that something is always watching us. We're always being watched. So always have yourself and present and behave yourself as if you're being watched. I've given this story before. People might have heard this, but I had neighbors who used to say to me, what type of Christian are you if you let your dogs bark? Because I used to have dogs when I was a Christian. And they said, what type of Christian are you that has your dog? They blamed, I don't know how Christianity and dogs barking had anything to do with each other, but people are always watching you. So just because you can't see them doesn't mean they're not watching. So when you're walking, don't be picking your nose, picking your ears, none of that stuff. People are watching you. Okay, so you must make sure that you're presenting yourself nicely. You want to be a witness to people of goodness of Islam, cleanliness of Islam. So be careful. If you're going to pick in your teeth and whatever, put your hand in front. Make sure you cover your mouth with your hand so people don't have to see it. Just think people are watching, even if they're not watching. You know what? Most times they are watching. You think they're not, but... So make sure that you're aware that people are watching you. So people have peripheral vision. They can see what's happening on either side of them, even though they might be looking in that way. Remember your teacher at school? He said, I know what you're doing, Muhammad, or I know what you're doing, Iqbal. And you go, how does he know? And he's busy drawing on the board, yet he knew what you're up to, because he's using peripheral vision. And because you always did the same thing every time you turned around. So we need to make sure that when we go out there, that we use a certain amount of control in what we do. We think about what we're doing. We present ourselves in the good light. You know, these things, toppies, we call them in South Africa, toppies in India, I don't know what you call them in the rest of the world. They don't last long. I mean, they don't look good for very long. They're only clean for a day, tomorrow they're dirty again. Have an extra one in your pocket. Nothing wrong. I'm worst at this. So I'm telling you, sometimes they say those who can do, those who can't teach. At the moment, I'm teaching instead of doing. Because I am the worst with toppies. I always lose them. I lose them every day. I lose them every day. If I should have a string tied and then it's tied to my jacket pocket or something, then it falls off. I've got it here all the time. I always lose them. But theoretically, if you're a good person, not like me, you should have an extra one that you just keep, hold it up in your bag or something. So when it starts looking a bit yucky by the end of the day, especially summertime, take it off, put a new one on. Look crisp. And you should have like maybe 4 or 5 of them anyway at home. So you don't wear the same socks every day. Why are you wearing the same one every day? I'd rather wash it every day. Well, we've run out of time again. You're going to have to join us again next week when we continue, or next time when we continue with further episodes in the series. So from me, Areeb, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.